So Trump and the Canadian Prime Minister got together, had a nice little meeting. Let's check it out and dissect it together here. I think it went pretty good for us. Yes, we have to watch the intro twice. Zoom through the preliminary setup by the press, and here we go.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada.
And it was a massive election. I was really surprised that Polyev did not take that. I mean, it was his election to win. But the pressure they mounted on Trudeau, maybe that was not the right strategy. They should have allowed him to continue, think that he had a chance. Maybe that was the path to take, and, people came together around Carney here. So I don't know what's going to happen to Polyev, what's going to happen to the conservative movement in Canada, to be seen. But let's see what we've got in terms of trade relations here.
And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take full credit. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning. So I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. But I want to just congratulate you. That was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, because we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. We handle it with great love. And 24-karat gold, that always helps too, right? But it's been a lot of fun. We're going over some of the beautiful pictures.
What do you guys think? Add to the comments. Trump just meandering away, talking about the Oval Office, 24 carats. It's very beautiful. We handle it with love. I find it entertaining, but some people might find it off-putting. I'm curious how people are receiving that. The most negative take I've heard is along the lines of Biden, that he's kind of lost his mind and he's just kind of living in a different world, which I don't think is the case. He's a storyteller to me. All right, we're going to zip through a little bit to get to the heart of the matter here. Okay, here we go.
Mark wants it ended as quickly as I do.
Talking about Ukraine war.
We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings. And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think that's very positive. They were
good for
they were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas.
So, the supply chain disruptions, this was a big one. Folks had to go all around Africa to get to the Mediterranean. They could not, go through Suez Canal just because of what the Houthi rebels had started. So this is a very big deal.
It wasn't just the canal. It was a lot of other places. And I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately. And Marco, you'll let everybody know that, okay? Do you have something to say about that, by the way? It's a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, this was all
right, so this is an interesting part that I want to point out. He always hands it off to Marco for him to add in. And let's take a look at the body language Rubio demonstrates here. He's sitting forward. He's ready to go. Well, let's get to it.
Always a freedom of navigation mission.
Right,
these guys, these are,
All right, boom. He's sitting forward, ready to go, has a lot of energy. And Trump is handing off to him quite a bit, relying on him to either give the report out to the public or giving him an opportunity to report out. Because honestly, Trump could have just as easily walked through all this stuff. I mean, you hear him speak all the time for hours on end. But is he setting up Rubio for something more in the future? That's one interesting takeaway I'm getting now, because it's happened on multiple occasions. This is not the first time. So I don't know. Rubio 2028? Let's see.
A band of individuals with advanced weaponry that were threatening global shipping. And the job was to get that to stop. And if it's going to stop, then we can stop. And I think it's an important development.
And we'll have maybe before we're going to, as you know, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. We're going to UAE and Qatar, and that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And
All right, guys, comment if you think he actually forgot the Canadian Prime Minister's in the room.
I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive. And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. But it'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject, very important subject. So you'll all be here. Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focused on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada. With a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl, much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to, addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can move forward.
That's great. Very nice.
So contrast that with how Zelensky came into the White House completely walking back the agreements that were said to have been made at the time that Trump was announcing, showing images that would, be counter to the agreements that were signing. It was how they would treat POWs and so forth. With this is, building bridges, moving towards a resolution. I don't know. I like it. Mark Carney, are you the right one? I don't know.
Thank you very much.
Canadians on the side.
Anybody?
All right, let me zip through a little bit here.
Actually,
all right.
Now, Canada's.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Now they're going to be asking about Canada becoming the 51st state again. Let's listen to the feedback.
A very special place. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, and Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state. Were you joking?
No. Well, I still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But, I guess I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly would give you essentially any.
So see the PM getting uncomfortable, sitting in his seat, a little agitated, wants to respond, wants to jump in, but learned the lesson of Zelensky, does not want to speak over the president and, just cause another debacle to happen in the White House. So good job on his part to play the political cards right here. But you can see he is waiting to jump on this one so that he can give a firm statement of, no, we do not want to become the 51st state. Even though I think it would be a great idea.
Because we're
at least we'll take Alberta. Can we just take Alberta?
protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have.
So it's an interesting way of kind of handling that question and doing it pretty lightly without having to get too forceful about it. So again, pretty smooth on a political side of this for Carney.
They have. I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very
let's
important
zip through
thing.
get another good part here. No.
Because one day will come and we'll give you 100 deals, and they don't have to sign. All they have to do is say, "Oh, we'll start sending our ships right now to pick up whatever we want or to bring whatever we want." It's very, very simple. And I think my people haven't made it clear. We will sign some deals, but much bigger than that is we're going to put down the price that people are going to have to pay to shop in the United States. Think of us as a super luxury store, a store that has the goods. You're going to come and you're going to pay a price, and we're going to give you a very good price. We're going to make very good deals. And in some cases, we'll adjust. But that's where it is. And we've been ripped off by everybody for 50 years. And we're just not going to do that anymore. We can't do that. And we can't let any country do that to us. We're just not going to do it anymore.
That's basically since Carter.
I'm wondering, can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis?
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
And where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear it. The very good source, I could tell you. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source.
That was kind of a odd question that he followed up with. Where did you hear that from? What? Like, the president gets intel briefings for everything. I mean, where did you hear that from? I don't know.
They don't want to be bombed anymore, Sort of thought that would happen. Behind you, please.
Clarifying something you said on USMCA. Is the U.S. prepared to walk away from that pact?
From what pact?
USMCA.
No, it's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain things. It's there. We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it.
Is he talking about Trudeau?
You know what I'm talking about. But we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal, and we ended it. We ended that relationship pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it.
Yeah. Mr. President,
I'll say a word on USMCA, if I may, Mr. President. It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change.
All right, let's go. So very conciliatory on Mark Carney's part. Selling military equipment. Tariffs, go.
Site, then you have to look for financing. You have to get your zoning. 5 years later, you start building. You get a bank. Then the bank's no good. And these people have massive amounts of cash. The CHIPS Act was a ridiculous thing because that doesn't.
Yeah, CHIPS Act just gave out money, whereas the tariffs are compelling companies to invest the money they already have, just sitting there doing nothing. They might issue new stock with or do buybacks. Let me see here.
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum. And I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well. Right now, going no further, but we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada, which helps Canada out?
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies.
All right, so more actual part development, not just assembly, to happen in the United States. Let's get Canadian PM response.
But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved, and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to...
I'm just pausing real quick. I didn't even know if the Canadian PM is going to get a word in before they close it out here. Let's see.
Say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very...
Nope, didn't get a word in. But he even referenced the Zelensky Oval Office meeting, saying that what had happened here with Mark Carney had been very cordial. They had, discussions about difficult topics, but it was all very friendly, and they was very open and direct, and that's how he likes it, and that's what he wants to continue to do. So Trump was very complimentary of Mark Carney. Will we see some resolution to all this stuff? I don't know, because there probably, this is my guess, there probably will be some kind of a tariff that stays in place, because we need these industries to be homegrown and to have these capabilities in-house for a variety of reasons. Interestingly, they got along just fine. Very cordial. Who'd have thought? All right. See you guys next time.